Welcome to Taste Reviews Drink Edition. I'm your host, Derek Silver, and this is episode 17. Now we back. I got a new one, of course. Now this one is Amador whiskey. Amador whiskey. Went shopping today, whiskey shopping, and I picked this one out. I've seen this one for a while, so this one has been on my radar. So I had the opportunity to get it today, and we're gonna review it. So, like I always do, I go through the website, get the tasting notes, all that good stuff. So first, let me look at the bottle. The bottle is a nice shaped bottle, nice, clean, sleek bottle. Um, the label is a nice label, got nice color on it. It gives a description: Amador whiskey, double barrel, Kentucky bourbon whiskey, finished in Chardonnay barrels, 86 proof, 43% alcohol volume. The mash bill is 65% corn, 20% wheat, 15% barley. So this one right here is considered a wheated bourbon. So we're going to go through the website, give you a little information about the whiskey before we get to the tasting. So um, from the website, they have a few different types of bourbons. So like I said, this is considered a wheated bourbon. So this is my first time actually having a wheated bourbon. And this it says on the website, which is amadorwhiskeyco.com. It says charred American oak plus former medium toast French oak, sourced from a pedigree craft distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Like I said, the mash bill consists of 65% corn, 20% wheat, 15% barley, aged in new charred American oak barrels for 3 years, finished in Napa Cellars Chardonnay barrels for 9 to 12 months, bottled at 86 proof, pairs perfectly in an old fashioned or Manhattan. So that's good to know because I like old fashions. One of the interesting things that I like about their website and when they describe each of their whiskeys, they have something called a fact sheet that you can click on. So I click on the fact sheet, and on the fact sheet, they give you just this one sheet of the actual description of the bourbon, everything you need to know. And they also give you a recipe. So this particular one, they say it's good with old fashioned. So they have an old fashioned recipe on the fact sheet. So also on the fact sheet, which I always love to see, is the tasting notes. So let's go through the tasting notes and then we're going to get through the tasting. So it says exquisite copper brown color, which it is, a nice color to it. Notes of vanilla, caramel, butterscotch, roasted almond, mingle with hints of honey and tobacco. Rich and full body with a creamy long finale. It sounds good. Born in Kentucky, raised in California. That's the last thing on the fact sheet. Other things on the fact sheet, this is what I already read, which is the product features, where it's sourced out of, the mash bill, which means what it's made out of, and just some different facts and also the proof. And it also gives a small description of the particular whiskey. It's like a paragraph. I'm not going to read that. We're going to jump right into the tasting, y'all favorite part. So let me go ahead and open this bottle. Always love that sound. Let me put the pour in there. So as you know, how I always do it, 3 different tastes. So we're going to go neat. That's a little bit too much, but we're going to be all right. This one right here is with a splash of water. There we go. And this one right here is going to be on the rocks. So we're going to start with the neat. The body of it is thin. It's not oily at all. It's not really oily. Um, it's funny because I haven't run across a lot of oily whiskeys lately. So this one is pretty thin. The body is um, real thin, not too oily. So let me go ahead and take a taste. Okay. Let me check out the tasting notes once again. I do taste the vanilla. I taste the caramel. I taste the roasted almond. I taste the butterscotch. Honey, yeah. Tobacco. I don't taste too much tobacco. Let me smell it. I forgot to smell it first. I can smell the vanilla, caramel, the honey. It's got a nice sweet taste and smell to it. It's not too strong on the finish, not too spicy. Just that good amount of toast flavor on the finish. The finish is, I'll have to say the finish is short. Let me take another taste. Yeah, the finish is real short. It has a toasted finish to it. Let me look at the notes again. It says rich and full body with a creamy long finale. It does have a creamy taste to it on the finish, like a creamy toasted almond to it. It's smooth. It's a smooth whiskey. Um, it tastes real good. I can see why they say that it will go well with an old fashioned. The flavors of it, that vanilla, that caramel, will go great with an old fashioned if you get the right pair it with the right bitters, because there's different type of bitters you can pair make an old fashioned with. Um, Even the simple syrup as well. But I can see how the vanilla, the caramel would taste real good uh, with that orange flavor that you get from the garnish, or even sometimes you can get orange bitters when you make old fashions. Finish that off. And one little note that I want to give: when you're drinking whiskeys, don't just drink it fast. Like whiskeys, you really have to sip them in order to get the flavors. So normally what I do and what I would suggest, when you first have some whiskey, you sip it, let it sit on your tongue for a few seconds, and then just let it flow down your throat. uh, Let it flow down your throat, and don't just gulp it down, because if you gulp it down, you're not really going to taste the flavors of it, and it's going to burn. Trust me, it's going to burn. So let's move on to the splash of water. All right. With the splash of water, I can smell more of the almond flavors. I can even smell the tobacco to a degree. I can smell that more so than I can smell the vanilla, the honey, and the caramel with it just being neat. With the splash of water, I'm getting more of the toasted almond, but it's creamy, as I stated, and what the notes says as far as the finish of it. Like it's definitely creamy with the splash of water. You get that toasted almond. Um, I'm not sure if I taste the tobacco yet. Let me have another sip. I'm still not getting the tobacco, um, but it is creamy, more creamier with the splash of water. Definitely the toasted almond and the vanilla. More like vanilla, toasted almond. So that's where I'm getting all the flavors from with the splash of water. Creamy, vanilla, toasted almond. Yeah, that's good. It's good. With the splash of water, it's just as good. It's like with the splash of water, it's real creamy. I dropped the ice, so I can't use that one. All right. Now let's move on to the on the rocks. Swish it around. Get that sound going. Get it cold. Let me smell it. On the rocks, I'm smelling vanilla. Smelling vanilla. Excuse me. Burp number one. Burp number two. That tells you that it's a good whiskey. Burp number three. Burp number three. I'm getting more of the vanilla hints on the nose, on the rocks. Vanilla. It's something else that I'm smelling. Let me look at the notes again. Vanilla. Yeah, I'm getting the vanilla and the honey, the butterscotch. And now just thinking about looking at the notes again and going back to the splash of water, that's what I'm really tasting a lot as well, the butterscotch. I forgot about the butterscotch notes. But yeah, splash of water, definitely butterscotch. Is creamy, it's toasted almond, but it is real creamy with that splash of water. So let me go ahead and taste this on the rocks. On the rocks, I'm getting is very creamy, very creamy. Um, it's smooth. It's much more smooth on the rocks. It's creamy. I feel like I'm getting that tobacco now on the rocks. Let me go ahead and take another taste. Yeah, on the rocks, I'm definitely hitting I'm getting the tobacco now. It's definitely creamy, but it's like a creamy tobacco. So all these three different tastes, I'm getting something different. That's a good thing. Um, what I would prefer, um, it's hard to say. It's kind of tied between neat and a splash of water. I guess it would depend on my mood. Um, on the rocks would probably be my last choice because of that tobacco flavor. Um, if I wanted the tobacco flavor, I would just smoke a cigar. But yeah, it's kind of a tie between neat and a splash of water. They both give two different type of flavors. Like neat, you getting I tasted everything with neat. With the splash of water, it was much more creamier, much more smooth. I taste the butterscotch, the vanilla, and the caramel and honey. On the rocks, like I said, it was pretty much more of the tobacco. Um, so yeah, overall, I enjoyed this whiskey. It was a good whiskey. Um, Out of five tastes, I would give this whiskey a four. Four tastes out of five for Amador whiskey. It's a good whiskey. I'm looking forward to making the old fashioned with it. I feel like using this one for old fashioned is going to be really good. Just going back to the last episode, episode 16. If you watched it, if you didn't, check it out. Um, that particular whiskey wasn't a good whiskey to make an old fashioned with because it had its own character to it. Um, it it would have messed up the whole trying to make a cocktail with that whiskey would have messed up the whole vibe of the whiskey. And what I've come to find out in my journey and my experiences with whiskeys, there are some whiskeys that are made for cocktails, and there's some whiskeys that aren't made for cocktails. They're their own entity. You don't need to mix nothing with it. You don't need to add anything to it. It is great by itself. But Amador is still a good whiskey to have neat or with a splash of water. But I feel like it's going to go great with a old fashioned. So I'll get back to you on that. Maybe I'll make an episode where I just get a few whiskeys and make some old fashions and see which whiskey would be great for old fashioned. That's a great idea right there. So yeah, I'm going to do that at some point. So look out for that. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you comment, whatever you got to do that will get me more views, bring more attention to the episodes. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Taste Reviews Drink Edition. I'm your host, Dirk Silver. This has been episode 17. Make sure you drink responsibly.